It's nearing 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Saturday, August 30th. I'm Joey, only Caribou Weather Dude, YouTube channel here in Wells, BC, looking at the wildfire situation this afternoon. Today and going forward a little bit of an update for you. There's a lot of lightning happening right now in the Chilcotin, primarily along that Highway 20 corridor and south to the mountains, the foot of the mountains there, all along the foot of the mountains over to the South Chilcotin. Seeing some lightning strikes in the area right now. In fact, I think last I looked there was like over 100 in the area. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah, we're 100 plus lightning strikes in the last 20 minutes in that area. So very active thunderstorms there right now. A little bit of lightning by Whistler. Other than that, things are pretty nice out in BC. Still, any lightning right now in the conditions we're in is going to lead to some fire activity. Materials will be receptive to fire in this weather. So let's have a look at what's going on right now and all the details. Let's go. There it is. This is bad news.
My God. Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later.
Water.
Ain't dry mopping this. And if you wouldn't mind subscribing, liking, sharing, telling a friend, spread the word that Joey Only, the Caribou Weather Dude, is the YouTube with the weather reports recently. As so many of you now know, my Facebook was demonetized. I don't know for how long that will last for, but it's a big hit to me financially, even if it's a week or two or three. So that's why getting more action on my standard YouTube channel is really ideal right now, because that'll help get me that ad revenue back, but also it's better to grow my YouTube channel. My Facebook's been growing fast lately, but I don't really want that in comparison. I want the YouTube to succeed because it's a more stable platform that doesn't gaslight you, treat you, or put you on restrictions every time that's robots decide that it doesn't understand something you said, did, or whatever. Okay, fires. We were looking at this morning, the Provincial situation report. We got 58 started in the last 24 hours. It's 135 active wildfires right now. That's pretty good, actually. 44% of them are under control, 16% being held, 39% are out of control right now. We have quite a bit of new fires that have started from lightning strikes, and you can see them really, like where the lightning has been the last bunch of days is where these red dots are. And you know that the correlation is pretty good there. We'll come back to that in 1 second. 389 firefighting personnel are currently working right now, and there's campfire bans throughout the province. 105 of the active lightning fires were caused by lightning, right? So 105 active fires caused by lightning. That's 78% of our fires right now. Only 16% of our fires caused by humans. Many years, these numbers are much higher. Last year, we had just a very few human-caused fires, yet we had hundreds of lightning strike fires. So that just shows you, too, that we haven't been in the greatest conditions this summer on the whole for fire activity. It hasn't been, sustained hot and dry for the lengths of time that it takes to make for big fire stories in BC. Nonetheless, we are into a hot and dry spell right now. It's going to continue next week. It might continue further into September even. Not to alarm you, but I don't see a great deal of precipitation in the next 2 weeks available to BC. Of course, models will change. Anything within 7 days can be somewhat predictably reliable. You can feel pretty confident about any weather model within 3 to 4 days, especially like, okay, if it's saying 3 or 4 days out, that's probably going to happen. So things keep changing. Our understanding keeps changing, but it keeps changing hotter. Every time there's a model updating and it's like, well, we're going to make some corrections here. The correction is for more heat. A little bit of a late fire season in that case, which isn't incredibly unusual. No, not at all. Not incredibly unusual at all. Okay, new fire starts that we have are mostly these red dots, and they really reflect where we've seen lightning over the last bunch of days. Up this west side, far of the Caribou, closer to the mountains, right? Closer towards Bella Coola. Got a bunch of new fire starts around Whistler. Things are pretty quiet on the island at the moment, at least in terms of new fires, although the indices are creeping up. The fire danger is creeping up down there near Mount Baldy, for example, up that Highway 33 corridor. One of the first fires I ever fought was on that Beaverdale corridor. And a couple more in the Revelstoke area, a few more up the Rocky Mountains. But again, we're seeing a favorable situation as September sometimes can be a fire burning time. Sometimes we see fires burning, quite actively in September. Some of my experience has been occasionally you get very surprised by how wild the fire activity gets even in late September. So these aren't unusual things. We've had a whole summer for things to dry out, even though it's not been the driest of summers. Cumulatively, we're starting to feel that effect now that we have some heat on for the next little while. Some unusual heat. Okay, fire activity today at present. Here we got hotspot detection in the last 24 hours. Looks like a bit of a fire there in the mountains. I would say exactly southeast of Nelson, exactly southeast. A little bit of fire activity on the American border side there. Their problem, a little bit of activity the last 24 hours at the Bear Gulch fire. That's the one where ICE agents came and arrested a bunch of firefighters and took them off the line for quite a few hours and made them stand around. Very shocking and offensive to see in emergency zones. I mean, you could easily have arrested those guys if it was that bad at nighttime after. I'm not saying they deserve to be arrested. I'm not in favor of what ICE is doing, but I'm certainly not in favor of people being pulled off the line in front of other crews and whatnot. 2 crews were maybe decertified. I'm not sure. At least pulled off the line and had contracts cut up or whatever. So out by Quesnel Lake, some pretty good fire activity there. That's out in the middle of absolute nowhere. Now you can really see how a lot of lightning activity over the last few days in that South Chilcotin has sparked up a bunch of new fires. We have lots of lightning activity going on here right now at this moment. Things are firing and sparking real good right now. This C51672 is growing pretty good over by the Itches and Ilgatches. A couple days ago, we had a lot of lightning strikes up there. And yesterday, I think it was, or 2 days ago, we noticed some new fire activity there. C11 659er, a couple more up by where I used to timber cruise. Unfortunately, beautiful forests in there, although they're very stunted forests. They're small. Even the old growth trees are not very big. You go further north, we are seeing some activity in a few places up in the Fort Nelson area. That northeast region of BC, where for the last bunch of years we've had crazy fire activity. Right now it's not so bad. It's a few fires. Northwest Territory has been extremely hot. So their fires have been really active, really taken off. This one by Fort Simpson, where we've seen 30-degree temperatures plus every day the last little while. This one by Great Bear Lake, very, very active. Look at this over by Yellowknife Torch, and it must be ridiculous smoke quality, air quality there. Very active fires there. Things are cooling down soon, you'd hope, for the day. Very active in the Yellowknife area. Other than that, things are a little bit better in the Alberta side right now compared to the Northwest Territories, but some fire activity going on in northern Alberta and northern Saskatchewan. Got little bits over here in northern Alberta. These guys were just looking at northern Saskatchewan. So just giving you a bit of an idea. Really, Manitoba and Saskatchewan looking very preferential compared to what we've been seeing the last number of months there since fires really torched up there this spring. Just looking at the danger in Canada fire-wise, like Nova Scotia and New Brunswick are still uncharacteristically dry. Really bad through the Northwest Territories. I mean, that is ridiculous at this time of year still that they're that bad. Northern BC seeing their indices creeping up. We've seen that resulting fire activity trend upwards a little bit up there. Because of that, some of those dots on the map we're just looking at, Caribou actually in greater fire danger than we would like right now. And I would think, although what would happen is if you go forward in that map, the modeling would show you that the fire danger will decrease in the coming days in BC. That's not the case, and I think that the modeling will catch up to that. I think if you look at that same map, that the reason why I'm not showing you what it's projecting for tomorrow is I don't agree with it. It's showing fire danger going considerably down in the next few days in Western Canada. I'm like, no, you're going to wake up tomorrow. The new data is going to get plugged into those maps, and that map's going to look very much like today's map looked like. So just to warn you, if you're seeing those maps looking better in the coming days, that's data problem that's going on there on some level. Clearly, in my mind, as we look through the next 2 weeks, we're seeing consistent indices for fire activity in British Columbia. Now, we're not seeing of course, there's no fires of note right now because we're not seeing fires take off and run 10, 20 kilometers. No, nothing that crazy is going on. But if a lightning strike starts a fire near your house and the fire is actively burning, it wouldn't matter that there's not been many fires this year in BC. It wouldn't matter that the indices aren't through the roof like they have been in past years. It wouldn't matter that we didn't have 600 fires on the board at one point this year like we did in the years past. It wouldn't matter that 1 million hectares haven't burned this year if your house burns. That's the whole point of me forecasting, to try to give you an idea on where things are and what they're going. Okay, well, let's look at temperatures for the next bunch of days just to try to assimilate what I'm saying into our understanding. So you look at Sunday afternoon's temperatures. Oh, that looks pretty good. 31 Vernon, Prince George, warm across the west, warm in Ontario, whatnot. We'll jump ahead to Monday, 4 o'clock. Now you can see that low is developing again in Washington State like it always does. They have heat warnings and heat statements and whatnot in Washington that are scheduled to last for the next 5 days until Thursday. That special statement is on. Now that hasn't crossed the border, that special statement, but does that mean, Joey, do you think that there's a chance that BC is going to get more heat warnings in the coming week? Yes, I think there's a very good chance. I think there's a good chance that we see more record-breaking temperatures. Juno Birchwater says it's not out of the question that we break the all-time September temperature record in BC, if not Canada. And that seems likely. You can see how the coast is warming up coming into Tuesday. Even Haida warming up to near 20 degrees temperature. Much of northern BC, much of the Peace, into the Northwest Territories, still a lot into the Yukon, seeing warm temperatures. That's cut off through Manitoba and Saskatchewan, sure, but we are looking at humidex values on Tuesday, for example, in the 24 percentile. That's crossover. You can see the temperature in the Caribou looking between 29 and 31. Basically, Prince George at 29, Williams Lake at 31. Maybe it'll be warmer than that too. And what we're seeing is that the dry air persists, and that dry air is what will make fire able to burn a little less hindered. The fire doesn't want to breathe damp air, of course. That makes sense, doesn't it? Makes sense that fire doesn't want to breathe damp air. You'd think it makes sense, but not everyone understands that relationship between the humidex values and temperature and fire behavior, the chemical process that we understand as fire. Now we're looking at Wednesday. Okay, a little bit too far there. We'll look at Wednesday, mid-afternoon. And you can see Vernon looking at 35 degrees, warm temperatures down near the border. Terrace even up to near 27. On the island, maybe looking at 27s on Vancouver Island, 23s in the mountains in some of the places. But as soon as you get a little bit lower, you're talking into the 30s, close to 30 in the Peace. Very warm on Wednesday. The warm spell is not going away, my friends. Have a look over to Thursday. Still hot on Thursday, still very hot, and still seeing our humidex values very low, which means active fire weather, which means if our fuels are dry and the air is dry and we have sunlight on the ground to really initiate fire behavior more, because fire will burn. It will burn more aggressively if there's sunshine on top of it. So you get some clear skies on this, and it maybe even into the weekend. You can see Vernon at 34 and Friday afternoon, Williams Lake about 31. You know what that actually looks like by the time we get there. Even Saturday, starting to see some change there on Saturday. Maybe by Sunday we see some change. You can see those humidex values are still very low in the interior, though. That's telling 20 percentile. That's still crossover weather. We have a good week where we could see crossover fire weather, which means fires will probably burn more seductively in that time. Then it looks like we're cooling down a little bit. But you get into next week after this, and of course these are long-range models. This is more for fun than it is for accuracy, like how confident I am in this. Well, look at this, though. Even the chance that this is true, that the models are saying this is true, you see a lot of heat down there in the U.S. side coming out by that time. We jump forward into the middle of the month, and we're looking at maybe another heat wave, another chance later in the month that we could see temperatures ranging well into the 30s. Could you imagine that? September 13th and it's 30 degrees in Williams Lake. I'm not saying it's going to happen. You know, again, long range looks are for fun, but this is a change. We keep seeing this change. modeling towards warmer, staying longer. This whole heat wave started, if I'll remind you, model wise, I don't know, it was like 10 days or 2 weeks ago, and I'm looking at the models and I'm like, well, there's a possible couple days of heat, you know, and it was like 2 or 3 days on the models, right? Oh, it looks like it's going to be more like 4 or 5. Then Mark Ingles is like, oh, warmth is here to stay into September. I'm like, I think he's going to be right because he's a genius. And then next thing you know, we're trending continuously as we look deeper and deeper into September, that heat really staying present in a lot of the BC interior, which means we're going to have an active burning September. We're going to have fires that keep popping up, and people are going to keep having photos, and there's going to be stories in the news, okay? I'm not trying to scare you or alarm you, but I want you to be mentally prepared for the fact and have knowledge that this is going on so that you can adjust your life, whether you are a firefighter, whether you are a homeowner or a farmer, whatever. Maybe you're just looking to do haying and you're like, wow, hey, Joey's saying we have nothing to worry about. We got a good stretch of warmth coming to us. Okay, hit like, share, subscribe, become a channel member if you wouldn't mind, maybe become a Patreon member. Those are direct ways. I mean, you pay for an app to give you weather. You could do the same by giving $2 a month to Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude YouTube. If everyone did that, I would be completely sustainable and I wouldn't have to scramble every month to try so hard. I wouldn't be pained so greatly when for even 3 or 4 days Facebook cuts off my monetization, so that I'm not posting videos there right now because of it. I'm not going to give my videos away for free at this point because I've already been paid too often for doing it. So you're going to have to put up with ads here on YouTube. Come over here, subscribe here. Make sure you keep checking in here because this function's always been good to me. I'm going to keep using it. And maybe if Facebook comes back and starts paying me again, we'll get back active there. Okay, friends, we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.